Hi, I'm Brian.
And I'm Bruce.
And welcome to episode 10 of Just Beneath the Surface.
We just did 9 a few years ago. Whatever.
Seems like forever, yes.
Seems like forever.
Welcome back. And Bruce,
welcome.
Usually I ask you to tell the viewers what Just Beneath the Surface is.
But what do you do it this time?
Today I'm going to do just that.
Right. Let's see how well you do. The viewers can write in and say, that was great, or, as you probably will,
I certainly couldn't do it any worse than Bruce does.
There you go. Look at that.
Just Beneath the Surface.
He's almost funny, too.
Just Beneath the Surface is, as Bruce calls it, an homage. Even though he cannot spell homage, to the Twilight Zone.
Starts with ho, doesn't it?
The original Twilight Zone, not any of these crappy remakes that have been made in the last few years.
They may not be crappy to you, but
Paramount Plus, I mean, this is the strategy. They take the name of something successful and they put it on a crappy new product and they think that people like me are going to watch it. And then what do?
I don't know.
They make it woke and they make it remakes of all the things.
And it's like not that. And I'll say this, that sometimes we just love the originals of what we see. I mean, if you listen to the original, albums back when Moses was around, you might hear the song and you like that song, you don't like the new music or whatever.
He was born 2 years before Moses.
That's right. And then after he died.
But, so, Twilight Zone, the original one, that's what we focus on here. It's classic, timeless stories, and we think that a lot of the messages that Rod Serling was delivering back in 1959 to 1964 are relevant today. They're still relevant, and that's what we like to discuss.
And even we went to that showing at the movie theaters at the 50th anniversary?
I believe so.
And there was a documentary. They showed 6 episodes, and at the end there was a documentary. And Serling kind of did say that he wanted to make social commentary, but make it in such a way that it was entertaining.
Yes.
Because a lot of the things he said were just beneath the surface that people don't want to talk about, or social things. But he wanted to make it entertaining because nobody wants to get lectured to like I'm doing to you right now.
Now, let me tell you, I'm a Star Trek fan. I love Star Trek. And Star Trek is famous for doing the same thing. And it gets a lot of the credit for doing that, having social commentary in its stories. But Serling really did it first.
Yes. Well, yeah, sort of. I mean, if you go back to the 30s and 40s, the movies, a lot of those, they also had social commentary or whatever. And a lot, especially the noir movies, what do they call them? Like the noir movies. Film noir movies. Gangsters and not good things happening in it. But I would agree that Serling, he really brought it to the forefront, I think.
And that brings us to the topic of today's discussion.
Yes.
One of the things we like to discuss here on the show is the twist endings that happen throughout the Twilight Zone.
Yes.
So we thought we'd take this 20 minutes to talk about some of our favorite twists, the ones that we like throughout Twilight Zone history. And I'm going to turn it over to Bruce, since this subject was his idea. And Bruce, why don't you kick us off? What is one of your favorite twist endings on the show?
There's a number of them, and as you know, not all the episodes have a twist. Really, we don't think so. But I would say numero uno, season 1. What episode was that, my friend?
Well, I'm going to guess that you're talking about Time Enough at Last.
Oh no! Try again, second round. What's that thing you used to say on? Okay, whatever. Where is Everybody? Starring, was it Earl Holliman?
Earl Holliman.
Jr.? Or just Earl Holliman? I forget. Whatever. But the premise of that was, it was the first episode of the first season, and it just shows Earl Holliman walking into a town, and there's nobody there.
Now, for those of you who are new to our show, you may not remember that Bruce actually discussed this very episode back in episode 5.
Right. And if you saw that, you would know that I'm going to repeat myself. But if you didn't, it's all new to me.
What is the setup for the episode of
It will be quick, since he walks in town and there's nobody there, and he's walking around the whole town and everything, there's no people. He thinks he sees somebody in the car, and there's a mannequin actually in the car, but he thought it was a person. Goes over there, it's a mannequin. He's going around, and all day he can't find any people. But slowly but surely, he's kind of figuring out. He reaches his pocket. At the very beginning, I got $2.25 American money here. And I want some food, and I want some bacon and eggs. And he goes, oh, that's American money. I'm an American. He goes, and then later on in the thing, he's in the movie theater, and he sees a poster about the naval things or whatever and all this sort of stuff. And he sees the planes. He goes, oh, I'm in the Air Force. I mean, he slowly is getting what's going on. But to me, I'm going, I don't know what's going on. I mean, usually I feel like I am in a town with no people because nobody talks to me. They just walk by and bye.
You do live in a very isolated community.
Yeah, thank goodness for that, I guess. But anyway, at the very end, which I thought was a good twist, he can't take it anymore, and he goes up to a street light and he starts banging on it like this, banging, he's breaking some glass, and then it slowly fades, his breaking, and he's breaking on a glass of a little clock or something, or on a button. He's pushing a button, that's what he was. A button on the thing, on the light, and then when he fades into it, he's pushing a button on the inside a panel, which is inside an isolation tube. And it turns out he's been in an isolation tube for, I think they said, 2.5 weeks or something.
And what is it that the scientist in there, what's his final line as the episode comes through?
And you had to say that.
Yes.
Oh.
I remember you mentioning it last time. It was, we could cure everything or provide for all of his needs.
That's not the last thing. Yeah, we can give him food for nourishment. We can give him books for reading. We can give him expel waste. We can bring in oxygen for this. But the one thing we can't bring him or can't give to him is social contact. And that's the thing that's waiting up there for. That's at the very end. I think Serling says it is loneliness. It never dies.
It never dies.
It's something like that or whatever. And I thought that was a good twist because all along the thing, I didn't think it was in an isolation tube. I didn't think I'm just going. Of course, you go. Where does that really happen? That you walk into a town and nobody's around, except Mokesville, where I live.
Yeah, maybe that's no. Well, let's lead into the next one.
Okay.
It's also from the first season, and it's one that we've not yet discussed here on Just Beneath the Surface.
Unlike mine.
And it stars the brilliant actor David Wayne.
Oh, geez, I still don't have it.
David Wayne. The episode is called Escape Clause.
Hey, now I know.
Escape Clause. And for those of you who've never seen it, David Wayne's character is kind of like Bruce. He's a hypochondriac. And he spends all of his time in bed, being cured of illnesses he doesn't even have. And he's got his wife hovering over him.
Burning off my hair with like a torch.
And the doctor is tired of making these house calls. He comes out to see David Wayne all the time. And he's like, why do I keep coming here? You're in perfect health. And his wife comes in.
You're a quack.
Yes. Get rid of him.
Get rid of that quack.
The wife comes in and says, would you like me to make some potato pancakes? And he says, you are a potato pancake. But he wants...
He's got it.
He wants...
I mean, that's what he says.
He wants to have eternal health, right? Eternal health. And so when he's there, thinking he's going to die, a guy shows up, big, rather rotund gentleman.
Just out of nowhere.
Just out of nowhere.
Was that the one with Sebastian Cabot?
It was not Sebastian Cabot.
Who was that? I forget.
It was a no-name actor.
No-name actor, okay.
Yeah, it was I'm sure I'll put it down here in the bottom. But
right there.
In the lower thirds.
Right next to his ear.
But the man shows up and he says, of course I'm spoiling it here, but it's the devil. It's the devil taking on one of his many forms. Yes. Yeah. The devil has taken many forms in the Twilight Zone. He was the Howling Man in one episode. He was Julie Newmar in another episode. He was Sebastian Cabot in another episode.
That was a good one. Yeah.
And in this episode,
that was a good one.
Yeah, he's another portly gentleman, but he makes a deal with David Wayne's character that.
What's his name? Do you remember?
Mr. Something or other.
Our producer will put it down here too. Yeah. He's a good guy too.
So he makes a deal with David Wayne. He says, you know what I'm going to do for you? I'm going to make you indestructible. I'm going to give you eternal life.
That's what I want.
Me too.
You're
never going to get sick again. You're going to live forever, and the only thing you have to do is sign your soul over to me. Now, this is the only problem I have with this episode.
What's a soul? Doesn't he say, what's a soul?
What's a soul?
What are you going to miss with a soul?
My only problem with the episode is that if he thinks he's going to live forever, or if the devil is giving him this, then would the devil him being cheated? Because if the guy's going to live forever, he would never give up his soul.
Well, I think in the thing he goes, you feel like you're living forever. You're going to live 5, 6, 7, 1,000 years, 2,000 years. Mm-hmm. That sort of thing. I don't think I don't know if he says like forever or whatever, but maybe he does just to trick him because I'll let you do the thing.
Right, well.
Or whatever.
So what happens next is that David Wayne signs his soul over to the devil, and then he takes on these new adventures. He's constantly doing things like throwing himself in front of a train, throwing himself in front of a bus. He's doing all these things.
Getting all these insurance checks.
His clothes get all shredded, but nothing happens to him. And like you said, he gets the insurance checks, and he gets bored with it after a while. It's like, man,
how boring.
What could I do now? I mean,
I'm going to kill my wife.
I'm going to kill my wife.
That's what he.
So
does he have to do it on purpose?
No, it's more of an accident. They're up on the roof of their building, arguing about something, and she's like, "No, come on in." He's like, "No," and so she goes.
Oh, that's
over
right. He was going to jump.
Yes, he was going to jump. Yes, right.
And she's the one that goes over.
So
and then he's like, okay,
he gets an idea. She is dead, so he gets this idea where he says, you know what? I think I'm going to confess to this, and I'm going to give the electric chair a spin.
You can almost see the little puff of smoke coming out.
Yes.
Or the little light bulb, like on the Stooges. Little light bulb in it. Oh, no, it used to be like a little canary, and it dies. I think it's but go ahead.
So he's in court, and his lawyer is saying to him, come on, plead self-defense. Plead manslaughter, whatever. Just don't plead guilty.
I did it.
I did it.
I killed her on purpose.
And the judge, rather than giving him the electric chair, the judge sentences him to life in prison.
What a twist.
Yes.
Because his lawyer comes back and says, I got great news for you. You're not getting the chair. You got life. And he's like, huh? Like this, and it's like, because if he got the chair, it wouldn't kill him.
Right.
It just because he wanted to get the electric chair and just go through it. But
and I have to say, this ending was a joke that I had heard about as a child, but I never knew where it came from.
Yeah.
Until later on as an adult, when I saw the episode, I said, "Oh, that's where that was from." I'd heard the story. In elementary
escape
school.
clause?
I had heard that story, basically, yeah.
Okay.
But, so anyway, what happens in the end is the escape clause, which is the title of the episode, is the escape clause to the signature that he gave to the devil, the contract.
At any time during this contract, if you want to give your soul right away, or you're tired of living forever or living for 1,000, just call me up and I'll make you dead.
So right there in his jail cell, all of a sudden, David Wayne has a heart attack, comes out of nowhere. That's it. He's gone.
Yeah.
And that leads into episode number 3. What is another good twist?
Just to go to show you, if you saw episode 9, the devil always does it.
Jeez.
My next one would be, and you may not get it or may agree to it, is 5 characters in search of an exit. And that's where one guy drops down, and I forget his name. He was in a lot of movies that maybe you'll get while I'm talking. But he drops down, and he's looking up, and there's this big black circle at the top. And he's going around knocking on the walls, and it's round like this. And
It's not Long Live Walter Jameson, is it?
No. This is 5 characters.
No, but I mean the actor Kevin McCarthy. It's not.
Oh, no, it's not Kevin McCarthy. Okay. No, I can't think of his name. We'll get it down on the site.
Oh, I know who it is. It's William Wyndham from Star Trek. Yes, he was in the Doomsday.
Boom!
Yeah.
Look at this guy.
Later of Murder.
Here's some more smoke coming out and a dead canary. But then he's walking around and he finds 4 other people. He finds a clown, a tramp, a soldier, and a ballerina.
Wait, is this in Washington, D.C. by any chance?
No, it's at my house.
Oh, okay. All right.
But it's like he finds 4 other characters. That's why 5 characters. And he's going, why haven't you guys been trying to get out of here? I mean, don't you want to get out of here? And he's taking his sword and ramming it against the thing, and it's not working, and ramming. He goes, what's up there? And they're all just sitting around, and they start playing music. One was a bagpiper. That's what it was. He starts playing music, and they start doing a little dance around. He goes, aren't you guys worried about being in here? Or don't you want to escape, get back to your loved ones, your life? And they're like, no, we've tried. We can't get out. We can't get out. We can't. You got to try. You got to try. So eventually he comes out with an idea. Mm-hmm. He goes, hey, if we stand on top of each other, maybe we can finally reach the top. And they try it once, and then the bell goes off every so often, or a clang, boom, boom, and then it rattles everything. And the first time it knocks all 5 of them down. And the ballerina gets hurt. And so they go try it again, which is the 4 of us. And I'll go to the top. Well, how are you going to get there? I'll use my sword, which is broken in half. So they get the 4 people up there, and he says, I cannot. He throws his sword way over the top. And he just latches on, and he's pulling up to the very top of this rim to see where they are. Right. What the heck's going on here? He's pulling up, and he gets to the top, and he puts his leg over the thing. And he looks over, and they yell, what do you see up there? What do you see? And he goes like, and he falls down on the other side. And all of a sudden, the next clip is that you see a little girl walking, and she's walking in the snow. She goes down, bends over, and picks up a general, which is William Wyndham, just a little doll. And he goes, hey, miss, who's the whoever does the thing at Christmas bangs.
Salvation Army.
Salvation Army. Go, oh, you dropped this or whatever. Oh, thank you. We're doing the Dolls for Charity thing or whatever. Yeah. Here, just put it back in the thing. And she puts it back in. And he goes, oh, you don't have very many. And so the whole story was. The twist that I liked, it was that they were just dolls. They were just dolls, but you didn't get it. And what I didn't say at the very beginning, I think, is the reason these twists work is that a lot of people are, what's the word, tactile. Mm-hmm. We believe what we see, hear, feel right now. That's our reality, as opposed to trying to think what's the effect down here. That's explaining it not well. But anyway, in that episode, drop him back down, and then you see Serling saying his epilogue or whatever. Yep. And at the very end, you see the ballerina's hand come down like this, and you see a tear come out of her eye. And it says, no doll is lonely as long as they have a child to love them, or whatever. So, but I like the twist, because when it was happening, I'm not going, oh yeah, they're in a Salvation Army bucket.
I'm glad you mentioned that one, because I don't know that is an episode that we would have discussed in any great length here in this series. So
Maybe not.
That's a good place.
But we can.
But on that note, I'll go to another one of mine that maybe wouldn't have gotten its own episode, and it's from the first season, and it's called Execution. And the plot of this episode, it starts at a Texas necktie party, as we're told.
Oh, is this one with the professor?
Yes, exactly.
I got it.
In 1869,
Little smoke, bird.
I believe. It's out in Utah or Arizona. I forget exactly where. But what's going on is Joe Castle, he's a cattle rustler, and he's a no-good varmint. And as Serling says in the beginning, when God was passing out brains, compassion, loyalty, he was out having a beer. You know, he's just not a nice guy.
That was a great thing, but if I can break him for 2 seconds, Castle does make a good statement later on. He goes, because he had killed the guy or whatever, and he goes, listen, when you're out on the plains, 100 miles from nothing, you got no food, no nothing, whatever, and the only way for you to get food is to kill this other guy, you'd kill him too, or whatever. And I believe in that.
Yes.
But,
So Castle is he's the main invited guest to this necktie party where the law have assembled, and basically they're going to hang him. That's what's going on here, because he recently shot a man in cold blood, and the dead man's father is right up there
in the back,
and he says, I'd like it to take a while. I want you to suffer because you did.
Listen to me laughing at that.
And Castle says, well, I'll do a jig for you, Pappy, just like a puppet. You know? So anyway, what happens is they tie him up, they put the noose around his neck, he's on the horse, and they they hit the horse's butt, and the horse takes off, and then all of a sudden Castle disappears.
They're showing the shadow of the hanging man. They're not showing the shadow, and the rope stays there, but the shadow of Castle disappears.
Yeah, right. You see the shadow of the noose, but the guy's gone. Fast forward, Castle wakes up. It's modern time being 1959, 1960. He's in New York City in a skyscraper, which made no sense to me.
Wow.
But he's been brought forward 60 years in time, or 70 years in time.
All these strange things like TV. What's that?
But we meet the professor who has invented a time machine.
The professor from Gilligan's Island, which we're saying that's the guy.
Coincidentally played by the professor, who's invented this.
Yeah, from Gilligan's Island.
Yes, Russell Johnson is
Russell Johnson
in his first of 2 Twilight Zone appearances.
This is true.
I'm sure you remember the other one.
I do.
But he starts looking over Joe Castle, and he realizes, he makes the comment, this isn't very, politically correct or what. He didn't say that, but he says, this isn't very nice, but I just don't like the look of this man. There's something about him.
He's talking to his recorder saying that or whatever. He doesn't like him or whatever.
Something that doesn't ring right about this guy. I mean, he's got a ring around his neck. What's that all about? And he looks like an ass, if I can say that.
Right.
So anyway.
Not a good guy.
Joe Castle goes out into society after he steals the professor's gun. He knocks him out. He takes the gun, and then he goes out into society. In New York, 80 years in the future, it totally freaks him out. He doesn't.
Cars! What are those?
And he watches, he's in a bar, and there's a TV above, and it's a Western.
Of course.
It's a Western, and there's
with a guy coming to shoot.
With a gun, and so he takes his gun and shoots that. And by the way, that bar was used in several other Twilight Zone episodes.
Really?
Including a unique kind of stopwatch, where the guy would stop time with it, but that's a whole other story. Anyway. What happens?
And the sky opened up, I think, too, but go ahead.
What happens then is that Joe Castle goes back to the professor's office because he wants to use his time machine and go back. But as he's in there, what happens? Somebody breaks in.
Another thug.
Somebody breaks in.
That's what there's thugs 100 years ago. There's the thugs today. There will be a thugs 100 years from now.
Thug breaks into the office, and he and Castle get into a fight. And what happens is the thug gets him by the window, and he takes the blinds, the rope on the blinds, and he strangles him like he would have died in the first place back in Texas.
And then, keep going.
And so what happened? He then, this new thief, who we haven't met until the last 2 minutes of the episode, he wanders over into the time machine. He says, "Oh, what's this?" Boop, boop,
Starts pressing buttons because he thinks he can find a safe or money or something. So he's pushing all these things, and he does it in the time machine.
And what happens is he ends up taking Castle's place at the necktie party back in Texas.
Right, you see the shadow with just the rope, and then you see it filled up with a body, and then it pans to the body, and it's the thug so they both got their due.
And all of the spectators from the beginning of the episode what kind of devil's work is this?
That's right. We were talking about the devil a lot today.
Yeah.
It's like, but because he was wearing nice shoes and all
yes.
kind of stuff, so that was good.
But the fact that Castle died by strangulation in 1960, I think that's a great twist ending.
It's a good thing, and it's one of the few times I think, well, maybe a lot of times that justice is served on the Twilight Zone.
Justice is served. It doesn't always happen that way. Both of them deserve it.
So how about some honorable mentions?
Some honorable mentions.
Quickly.
Go for it. Really quick.
I would say people alike all over.
Yes, very good.
To serve man, because you may think that's a simple one now about to serve man or whatever, but I mean, when I first saw it, I wasn't thinking it's a cookbook.
Right.
That's a good one. And the one you mentioned before, time enough at last. When he drops his glasses like this, then he can't see. When he thought he has it made, when he finds the library. Right. But there's a lot of them, but there's a couple.
A lot of great twist endings. I think that's all we've got time for on this episode of Just Beneath the Surface, number 10. Thank you for watching. We want you to do a couple of things for us, if you wouldn't mind. Please, a couple. I'm just being generic.
Okay.
First of all, we would like you to subscribe to this channel. That'll increase our viewership.
Yes.
We want you to hit the notification bell. That will let you know when new episodes are uploaded.
Like 10, 11, 12.
Yep.
We just did 10.
We just did number 10. And Bruce, what's the third thing?
Like us.
I said, there you go. See,
just like us. You can love us, but you can like us.
I was testing him. But anyway, yes, thank you for that. And this is episode 10. I'm Brian.
I'm Bruce.
And we are Just Beneath the Surface.
Take care.